Okay, as part of goal setting, we're going to talk about the goal setting paradox. So the goal setting paradox is a phenomenon where the achievement of a massive long-term goal leads to feelings of deflation compared to smaller goals. And you can take this as an example of winning an Olympic medal or winning a world championship, something huge and that other people think that should be widely celebrated is actually not felt as feelings of success from the athlete themselves. And this is mostly attributed to the feeling of loss of purpose and drive that usually fuels their lives once they've achieved this goal, and it's kind of like a post-success depression. So what we can do in situations in these are things called goal adjustments. So usually we want to disengage from unattainable goals or goals that have now become goals that have now deviated from a main shift, and re-engage in alternative goals that are actually reachable and able for us to repivot and guide in new directions. So there are two types of adjustment. We have the upward adjustment, which is making sure that the goals we're setting are not too easy, otherwise we get bored. So every goal has to be structured in a way that is achievable but yet challenging, so we have something to reach towards. And there's also a downward adjustment, because when goals are too hard and out of reach, this can harm our self-efficacy. So we need to protect our motivation by lowering the ability of the goal. And we have two types of goals that we say are non-specific, but one that we favor more. So we have the do your best goal, which is non-specific and lacks direction, and it's usually quite ineffective, because if you go into scenarios thinking that you're just going to do your best, it already kind of shows a lack of trust and also self-regard, because you haven't really set a clear direction, and usually do your best goals don't really provide good anchoring points for athletes, because it's not really measurable and therefore it's not very productive for attainability. And then the next one we have is the open goal. And open goals are non-specific, but they have an exploratory nature, so they're open-ended. And this could be a goal like, oh, I want to see how big of a lead I can build in this race. And these goals, you have a kind of framework that you want to build upon, but they're also flexible enough to not trap you within a rigid structure of a goal. And some people say that only open goals can lead to what we call a flow state. And flow state is a harmonious, intrinsically rewarding state of focus. So like when you're super locked in and you can't really think of other irrelevant thoughts and emotions other than what you're currently doing, and that's generally characterized by just intense focus on what you're doing. And other people say that goals can push you into clutch state, which is any type of performance increment or change happening under pressure. So people say that even though open goals are non-specific, they can actually push you towards the performance that you want to reach, whereas do your best goals can be useful in certain scenarios, but it tends to not be generally applied. Yeah.